Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chem 1211 with your host, me, Dr. White. Hi, everybody. Welcome to summer Chem 1211. I was going to say another class, but I already did that one. All right. Good evening. I'm Dr. White. I'm a chemist. I'm actually an organic chemist. And for many decades, I worked as a senior research and development manager for a couple of international chemical companies. But by 2001, chemistry left Chicagoland. At that point, I started teaching and I also consult. I still do both. I teach both at College of DuPage and Elgin Community College. And I'm teaching a class this summer at ECC and also obviously here at COD. I should tell you I've been doing this a while now at COD. Back in 2010, I won Outstanding Faculty of the Year award teaching organic chemistry, but I also know how to do 1211. Thank you. And um, I've taught this many times over the years. And the last couple of years, I've taught it a number of times asynchronous. And if you follow what I recommend tonight, you'll do well. All right, a couple of things about me. First of all, if we were face to face, you'd see I'd have my hearing aids set. I don't. Why? Because right up here, I have two big amplified speakers, so I can hear pretty good without my hearing aids because they're blasting when someone says. But if you talk softly, or if you talk with an accent, or if you talk softly and with an accent, I may ask you to repeat something once or twice. And bear with me, that's this heredity. My grandfather and my mother all had hearing problems, and so do I. But, anyways, now listen carefully. Probably the most important thing I'm going to talk about tonight is what I'm going to mention now. In my class, in my world, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I'll say it again. In my class, in my world, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I learned that lesson from a postdoctoral fellow when I was in grad school. I got my PhD from Michigan State, and Dr. Palavin, a postdoctoral fellow, and I was one at UIC. As someone who's looking for a full-time job, you work for another professor at another school from where you got your PhD, you get paid, and you work there for a year or so, and by then you find a full-time job. And we had a PhD, Dr. Palavin, who was a very good organic chemist, and he asked me a question about something in front of our research group. Afterward, I said, well, Dr. Palavin, we teach that to undergrad students taking organic chemistry. Weren't you embarrassed asking that question? I said, no, why? I didn't know the answer, I didn't know about it. You explained it. Now I know about it. Why should I ever be embarrassed asking a question? And then it started to evolve in my head. There's no such thing as a dumb question. If you ever have a question, ask me. I'll never, ever say, didn't you read the book? No. If you have a question, I'm going to help answer your question. Now, there are a few things I don't know, like what's the meaning of life. But when it comes to chemistry, especially what I teach in this course, most of it I do know. If I don't, I'll find out. I know how to find out the answer. And that is very important. Now, I'm going to do an experiment with you tonight. Yes, I experiment with students' brains. And I'm going to write down a number. Don't you write it down. And that's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. This is called Avogadro's number. It's in scientific notation. Take a deep breath, relax. If you don't know scientific notation, I'll teach you that during the semester. But later on, you'll understand what I'm doing. I'll explain it, my experiment. All right, now I've got my notes here for tonight. Let's look at Blackboard. Blackboard is the school computer system that we use to help students do many things. Now, at the other school I teach, they have a system called Desire to Learn called D2L. It's not as good as Blackboard, but sometimes when I'm talking, I'll get the names mixed. So if I do that, please bear with me. I usually catch it pretty quick. Now, this is Blackboard, and you should be able to log in to Chem 1211. Now, when you log in, you'll see on the left here a number of things like announcements, syllabus, and so on. And like I had the announcement here, I have the announcement about the lab kit I put out, and you also get an email. Speaking about email, you should check your email this summer every day. I have an email address at COD. I try to check it twice a day, every day, including Saturday and Sunday, sometimes more. Now, I should warn you, I'm an early riser. Usually I'm on my computer by 6 a.m., sometimes earlier. Also don't need a lot of sleep all my life. So when I say I'll check it twice a day, one of them could be at 6 a.m., the other might be 4 to 8 p.m. And I try and get back to students at the latest within 24 hours after you send me an email. And that's just something I've been doing for years. Now, the other important thing, there are different things here like syllabus, assignment, course information, something about Carolina Labs, my Zoom office hours, and also the YouTube video and my YouTube channel. You don't know, but I'm a YouTube star. Not really, but I have a number of YouTube videos for this class and other class I teach. How to make PDF files. This is for me. By the way, if you've noticed, I'm a little older than most of you. And a number of years ago, I realized a lot of students I had didn't know about good music, movies, or books. My real claim to fame is I saw Jimi Hendrix live in Chicago, greatest concert of my life. If you don't know who Jimi Hendrix is, boy, you're missing out on the greatest rock guitar player of all times. But anyways, and other things here. Now, let's look at assignments for a second. Throughout the semester, you will have various assignments to do, and they're located here. And what I'm going to do is go to Student View. And you'll be doing various things such as labs, and also you'll be taking quizzes that I'll be putting in the assignment area. You'll download things, and then you'll have to upload your answers. And I'll go through this later tonight. But here's the assignment area. Here's some stuff that you should be working on. Also, if you ever have a question about any assignment, always feel free to ask me, because there's no such thing as a dumb question in my class. But before we continue on, it's time for my experiment again. And again, you don't have to write this down, but Avogadro's number is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And again, don't write that down, but you'll learn later in the semester that's a very important number. By the way, I think I'm going to go for the Guinness Book of World Record saying Avogadro's number the most times in 1 hour. Somebody keeping count out there for me? But anyways, this is the assignment area. And in course information, I have 3 folders. One is the lectures. And in my videos, all the things, the slides I use are available for you to look at. And there's other things in the lecture section, such as different reviews that I'll be doing, but I also have the slides I have for my reviews. And if you notice here, like quiz 1 and 2 review, I have it both as a MS Word file and as a PDF file. So that way, if you don't have MS Word on your computer, or if you have time and you want to look at something on your cell phone, you can access Blackboard and open up a PDF file. All the different things I have there. Now, I also have practice problems for each chapter and the answers for practice problems for each one. This is available to you 24/7 on Blackboard. As long as you have internet access, you can access this on Blackboard. Now, one of the most important areas is the syllabus. And per departmental rules, and I can only post it as a PDF file, because this way, when they go harvest it for all the classes, they can check, have you, meaning the faculty, put a syllabus. Now, what I like to do is go through the syllabus, which is not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is very important. All right, let me make sure. Yep. On your screen is the syllabus. I have it as a Word document. If any of you would like it as a Word document, email me and I'll send you a copy of this. All right. Obviously, this is Chem 1211, net 02. I'm still Dr. White. Now, on Monday and Wednesdays from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., I will have my Zoom office hours. And here's the login information for a regular computer. Here you can use this, put it in your URL and log in. You can also call in. I've had students call in from a car when they were going somewhere to ask a question. It's all available to you. Now, if you cannot make my office hours because maybe you're working Monday and Wednesday from 6:30 to 7:30, reach out to me. And if you need help, I will set up a private Zoom meeting. That's the nice thing about having Zoom since COVID struck. Before COVID, nobody on COD or any of the colleges use Zoom. Now we all have access to it. Now, one thing I should tell you about me, and you'll learn more about me in the videos that you'll watch. And one of the things is, in a certain way, I'm a very selfish person. What? Well, the way I'm very selfish is I like things that make me happy happen around me. I'm very selfish. I want the things to happen that make me happy. And one of the things that make me very happy and is good for my heart is to see students succeed. And generally in my classes, usually, and listen carefully, usually 65 to 70% of the students, if they follow my directions, earn A's. Yep, that high. But you have to follow, put in the time into work. And if you need help, I will always find time on Zoom to help any student if you can't make it to my office hours. Also, you can always email me, which I'll show you right now. Here is my email address, whitek@cod.edu. Now, many years ago, they gave a extension that's really a voicemail box. And I think I checked it somewhere around 2010, 2012 was the last time I checked it. Email me. That's the best way. If it's an emergency, contact the Dean of Science and Math, that office, and they can reach out to me. But that's the best way because I check it twice a day, every day, including weekends. Now, we are required, meaning any faculty in the chemistry department, in our syllabus to put certain things like the catalog description, course structure, and this, and the active course file and topical outline. I'll let you read that at your leisure if you'd like to. Here's the active course file. All right, let's get into important stuff. First of all, I have made the textbook optional. For many years now, students who take my class don't need a textbook to get a very high score. And if you go to ratemyprofessor.com and drill back long enough, you'll see a lot of students say that. And you don't need it. Because I provide you with practice problems and answers in my lectures, students do very well in my course. Now, what you do need is the lab kit. That's required. Now, first of all, to get the lab kit, you have to purchase a voucher from the COD bookstore. Hopefully you've already done that already. I put out emails earlier before tonight about this. And you can order then the lab kit once you get the voucher. Now, the voucher, make sure you're getting for Chem 1211. Because 1105, and I think there's another chemistry, also has a different lab kit than what we use. So make sure you're getting the 1211. You can do it online and they email to you the voucher. Once you get the voucher, you go to this website, the Carolina Company, and enter your name and other information, and they'll ask you to verify it. And then once you submit it, they will send to your home the lab kit. Now, I can say we've been using the lab kits from Carolina Company for a couple of years now. When we first went to COVID, we were using another one and it was awful. It was really awful. These are really good. The labs work. They're not that difficult. You'll be doing it in your house. Now, one thing I tell students, if you're going to do work in your house, which you are, not that I get any money back from Walmart. You can buy from Walmart. See, for $1.48, they have a 13x9. They have some bigger ones that aren't that expensive. Let's see if I can find one real quick. Here's one that's too expensive, but here's one for $2. Actually, you get two of them, $2.97. I would do my mixing of chemicals in there. For those of you who have very expensive countertops in your kitchen, certain chemicals you don't want on there. And either if it's your home or your parents' home, they don't want those countertops, how should I say, uh, ruined certain ways by chemicals you're reusing. So I would go to a Walmart, or you can go to other places. I believe that French store, this is a joke one of my friends always use, Target also sells the same thing, otherwise known as Target. Again, you need to buy the lab kit. Now, why? What's the reason? A couple semesters ago, the chairperson of the chemistry department put this rule that all chemistry courses, all faculty have to follow. You have to get 65% of the lab points to earn a C or better. And the way I grade, if you hand in the labs and do them, that's no problem whatsoever. But you have to have the lab kit to do the labs, and you have to do them and hand them in. And since COVID, it's been a problem for some students to do labs. I don't know why. I'm a chemist, not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but this is one way the chem department has set up for all students taking chemistry classes that to do the labs and to hand them in, you got to get 65% of the points to get that. All right. Now, another important thing you'll need is a calculator. And probably the best calculator you can buy are the Texas Instrument, this one. You can buy them at Walmart, Staples, Amazon, Target, and the list goes on. I think you can even buy them in Walgreens, and they're about $15 a piece. You cannot use the larger graphing calculators for certain tests, but I have a video that one of my videos, I show you how to use this. In fact, one of the students found an error in that video that I'll put out an announcement tomorrow correcting it, where I rounded off something wrong. Guess what? Dr. White is human, and I can make mistakes too. I keep them to a minimum, but everybody makes mistakes. But time out for what is Avogadro's number? It's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Don't write it down, but it's a really big number. And we'll learn later in the semester why it's a very important number. But let's do one thing real quick. And here, if you look on Google, there are a number of places, Target, Amazon, Walmart is more expensive. Home Office Depot is really expensive, but if you notice, Amazon is now down to roughly $12, same as Target. I'd highly recommend you get this calculator. And the thing is, it's solar powered, so you don't have to worry about the battery ever dying. I think this one I have has got to be at least 10, 12 years, if not more, old. And it works just fine. I have a part about student behavior. This is more when we were in a classroom, but some of it is we've been asked to put in about honesty and dishonesty. Please don't cheat. I've been at this too long that I have things in my quizzes that I can tell when a student's cheating. And I will do what's right here. I'll let you read it on your own if you're cheating. And I've unfortunately over the years, when we were especially face to face, got the dean of students and the dean of math and science involved when I caught a student's cheating. So please don't. All right, listen up very carefully. This is important. If you are a special needs student, I will do everything I can to help with your special needs. Do not raise your hand now. Contact me in private. What happens is the Center for Access and Accommodation will send you a letter by email, and you're supposed to send that letter, turn around and send it to me. Over the years, I've had numerous students who have had special needs, and I will bend over backwards to help any student with special needs. And they do good in my class too. Now, let's get to the important part. How do you get a grade in this class? Well, first of all, there are going to be 6 quizzes. A couple of years ago, the department chairperson mandated for all or certain online asynchronous and synchronous classes, they had to give at least 2 tests and the final at the Glen Ellen Testing Center at COD. Well, to get around that, I started giving quizzes, and my quiz 1 and 2 is the same as what used to be my test 1. 3 and 4 would be the same as test 3, 5 and 6, test 4, because I used to give 4 tests and a final. But this is how we have it now. So these are the tentative dates, and guess what? I stick to these, unless, I don't know, we have World War III, God forbid, or maybe if I win $1 billion, don't hold your breath on that. All right, next there'll be 2 tests given, and those are tests 1 and 2, and the final will be given this, and I see a mistake here. I'm going to have to correct it. That should be the week of 8/4. Now, when I wrote this, I didn't know about the fact that the coordinator will be also putting the final, and I'll put my test too, the Saturday before that Monday of the 4th of August. So what I recommend students do is take both test 2 and it's called the American Chemical Society final at the same time. My test 2 is really like my final, but you only have an hour to take. I give you 2 hours, but most students are done in an hour. The final, which is the standardized multiple choice final, you have 55 minutes as time. And I'll talk more about that during the semester. But this is important. All tests, those 2 tests, and the final exam have to be taken at the main Glen Ellen Testing Center. And the person who runs that I know quite well, and they do a really good job, and they've always treated my students very well with the utmost respect. Now, when you go to the test center, I would highly recommend bring your own calculator. You'll need a photo ID, and I'd bring up pencils and a good eraser. Good eraser, these white type, as opposed to the gum art erasers. Now, during the semester, I'll have 2 special extra credit. Now here, I should have taken this out because last semester, and I forgot to take it out, the department chairman issued some rules and we're not, actually it was end of fall semester or middle of fall semester. We cannot put extra credit project points on a test or a final. and I'll talk a little more about that. For makeup, if there's an emergency and you have a doctor's letter, you'll be able to do makeups. All right, now let's get to the good part. How do you get a good grade in here? By the way, I should warn you, but first, time out for Avogadro's number. I'll write it in red, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. That's Avogadro's number. On a serious note, if any of you are colorblind, let me know, because I do use color in my lectures, and if you need help with anything, let me know. When I was in the chemical industry, twice working at two different companies, I had chemists who were colorblind, and certain times for certain tests, they had to have someone else help them because they were both red-green colorblind. But Avogadro's number is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Now, years ago in a galaxy far, far away, Dr. White was a student. Oh, I should tell you, one of my golden rules of teaching, I don't do to my students what I didn't like done to me when I was a student. All right, now, over the semester, this summer, you're going to have 6 quizzes, 2 tests, and a final. Now, for 52.4% of your grade, I will take the sum of the 4 highest quiz scores plus test 1, or the sum of the quiz scores and not test 1. Whichever of those two is a higher number, I use. Test 2 is worth 17.5% of your final grade, which will be given in the last week, just like the final exam. The final exam, I would make it smaller, but we're required to keep it at minimum of 5.6%. It's an exam by the ACS, and I'll talk later about it this semester. Now, labs, you'll be handing in labs and getting points. Each lab is 10 points maximum. And that's worth 24.5% of your grade, which adds up to 100. Now, your percentages following. X is the sum of the 6 quizzes and not test 1. Y is the sum of the 4 highest quizzes and test 1. And Z is which is ever higher, X or Y. And your percentage is the points from Z plus test 2 plus the final exam score, which I curve. That's the only time I curve a test. Your lab total and the extra credit times 100 divided by 572. That will give you a percentage. Don't forget about the labs. If you don't have 65% of the points from handing in labs, you can't get a C or higher no matter what you did on the test. But I'll remind you during the semester about handing in labs. And last semester, everybody didn't have a problem with that minimum. If you get 90 or above, it's an A, 80, 89B, 70, 79C, D, 60 to 69, and F less than 60, 59 or less. Last semester, teaching 12, 11 online, asynchronous, I want to say 85% of the class earned A's or B's. I think it was close to 65, 68% earned A's, but they followed what I recommended. Withdrawal, you do that through the school. I have registration. I have no say in that whatsoever, either as any faculty. The last day to withdraw is here. Not completing exams or laboratory reports, just disappearing from the class does not officially withdraw you, you get a grade. I can tell you, I rarely have students withdraw. Usually it's because of medical reasons, like getting pregnant in their 8th month and they need to withdraw or earlier, or if they get transferred outside the Chicago area before online. And even now, because you have to take tests in the testing center at Glen Ellen. And if there's an extreme emergency, I do give incompletes. All right, this is very important. Here is the tentative schedule. For week 1, you'll be learning these chapters. And week 2, and here's our quiz 1 and 2, and so on, and through the 8 weeks. Now, summer, which is why I opened up Blackboard early to you this summer, is twice as fast as the normal fall and spring semester, which is 16 weeks. However, my students do well in the summer if you keep up. And you just have to keep up every week. Don't fall behind. And also, if you need help, see me. Now, this summer, instead of a lot of asynchronous courses, you read the book and you take tests and that's it. No, I made videos when we were synchronous during COVID and afterward of Chem 1211 courses I was teaching on Zoom. And because Dr. White, me, is a power user on a computer, I have been for decades, I posted these not through the school, but on YouTube. And if we go to and this one is for this summer, is from when I taught it the summer of 2022. Well, it's 3 years ago. Well, now watch closely. This is important. If you notice here, I have the date and the week. And then here in the description underneath here, see where it says more? Everybody see that? If you click on that, here are all the topics I cover in this video. And each of my videos in this channel, that is available. So you can see what's going on. And something new in the last year, they now have these key moments. I don't know how key they are. But this is essentially what I'm doing tonight, but a little more detail. And these are the videos you need to watch. It's like going to my lectures if we were face to face. Now, if we go to Chem 1211 videos, you see I have 109. No, you're not going to have to watch 109. I've got a couple different semesters. You can always go back. I'll show you something interesting if we go back far enough. Now, if we go back to 2021, you notice something Dr. White is wearing? Glasses. And in 2022, I think it was, I had cataract surgery because I had bad cataracts. And if you need a good eye surgeon, Dr. Cabin in Hoffman Estates is amazing. That was a couple of years ago, and my eyes have been fine ever since. But first, time out for Avogadro's number. How many of you are getting sick of me saying this? It's allowed. Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Now, in the syllabus, and I also have it where you can access this directly from Blackboard on the left, I'll show you again. These are the videos you should be watching. In week 1, there are these 4 videos. Week 2, I've got more of them, and so on. And watching these will help you get a good grade in this class. Now, two of the things about the video. One, I think I noticed that was in summer or whatever, but the dates for tests and all that in the videos ignore because that's from a couple of years ago. The other thing is fall semester 2024, department chairperson put out some rules, and one of them was that I used to, on the back of my tests and quizzes, put important information so you didn't have to memorize certain formulas. Heck, you know about the internet, you could always look them up if you were on your own and needed to know them. But the chairperson outlawed that. And since I like getting a job and having a job, I follow the rules that were applied to me and all faculty. So if you see in the video, it says you don't have to memorize this because there'll be important information. Unfortunately, you do now because I can't include that in my quizzes or tests. That's just something I have no control over. So it's imperative you keep up this week, watch these videos from week 1. Now, notice it has week 1 and 2 here. That would be if it was a 16-week semester, but I'm using these videos for an 8-week summer. So that's why discrepancy. And for those of you who are looking, what is title, chapter 1 and 2 in the book? These are the different chapter topics, but you don't need the book. Don't waste your money on the book. Now, I don't follow chapters numbers. I skip around because it's a better way. The book isn't that good to begin with. All right, the other thing you'll be doing this semester are labs. And labs are from the lab kit, which you should order. I've already talked about that. And during the semester, I'll have various labs available in the area, Blackboard assignment area. And what I do is you'll be doing 14, I think it's 15 labs. They just changed in the last semester. And I forgot to change it here. This should be 14 out of 15. I'll drop the lowest lab. So if you want to miss one lab, you can. Now, here's the schedule for each of the labs. And the important thing is you have to sign and get to me the safety contract. And you have to sign that not electronically, but actually write it on there. But first, one more time. And that's Avogadro's number, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, a really large number. Now, if we go to the assignments, you'll see this contract, and you need to sign it, read it, sign it, and upload it. And I'll talk a little about the signature sheet also. If you get it, and I've got to change this date, this is wrong, I didn't change it. If you upload the contract by the end of this week, I will give you 2 bonus points. So that's my way of saying, here's a carrot, a reward, if you do this. Now, the first lab is the safety lab, which is not a Carolina lab. And each of the labs, I also have videos for you to watch that help you. Now, the first lab that you'll do with the lab kit is lab 2 next week. And you will see the lab report here where it says scientific method lab report. And here I have a videos explaining how to do those labs. So it's almost like we're face to face. Now, one of the things you'll be having to do is upload your labs and quizzes. The test you'll be taking, I should update these files, but I didn't. Now, question is, what if you don't have a printer like I have right here? Or what if you don't have a scanner? Well, if you don't have a printer for the quizzes and the labs, all you have to do is put the data on a sheets of paper, and for the labs, the questions you have to answer. For the quizzes, this on a plain sheet of paper, the answer, you don't have to rewrite the questions. Now, what if you don't have a scanner? I believe the library at COD has one, a lot of local libraries do. But what if you don't want to do that? Well, I believe all of you have access to a cell phone. And there's a really good app that I learned about from one of my students called Cam Scanner. Ada, do you
No, yeah. My office manager had to teach me how to use it. I was like, oh.
you have a question? Okay. But anyways, Cam Scammer is an app that you use your cell phone that you can then take pictures of your answers, whether you printed them out or you hand wrote them on plain paper, and convert them into a PDF file that you can now upload to Blackboard. Now, Cam Scammer is a free app, but they want you to buy the one where it has all the bells and whistles. You don't need that. Just use the free one. My students have been using that for now almost 5 years since COVID hit, and I had to. For those who didn't have a scanner, what can they do? Now, if you don't want to do that, check with your local library, town library, check with COD library. I believe they all have scanners, but I don't know. I have my own scanner, so I haven't checked. But Cam Scanner has worked well with this. And you'll be uploading your lab assignments and other things to here. And if we were to go to the contract, this is when it's due. And I think I have Friday is the right date to get I've got to change this. Then see where it says upload files. You click on that. They'll give you the normal interface to pick it from wherever, whatever you're using, and then upload it. And then at the very bottom where it says submit. Now, the way I have this set up, if you make a mistake uploading something, you just have one chance. I put unlimited. So you can go back and upload something a second time if you made a mistake the first time. And like I said, here are my course information. Again, have my lectures and the practice problems and the practice problem answers. And again, here's my office hours, how to get to that on Monday and Wednesday. Even though it's in the syllabus, here's a separate list of the same videos, what to watch. I showed you. Here's the instructions. And like I said, here's my favorite music and others. How many of you know about the Moody Blues? Nope. I saw 3 of their concerts here in Chicago. They were one of my favorite. All right. Now, tonight, I've been saying Avogadro's number a obnoxious number of times. If all of you, unless you're driving somewhere or operating heavy machinery, close your eyes right now. Go ahead, close your eyes. It's safe. Can you see Avogadro's number? Do you know what it is? All right. Well, how do you memorize certain things you'll need to do in this class? You write it down 5 times and you say it just like I did tonight, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. And by doing that, it burns it into your brain. It does a better job than flashcards. It did for me when I was a student. It's done that for my students. All right, let's talk about how to do well in my class. First of all, watch the videos. They're on YouTube. They're available 24/7. Next, do the practice problems, and I'll explain why. After test 1, you'll know why I call them, or actually after quiz 1, you'll know why I call them practice problems. After test or quiz 1, you'll know why I call them practice problems. Do those. Now, most of you were not around when Michael Jordan, being around born, when Michael Jordan was the best player in the NBA in Chicago here. That's when the Bulls won championships, a number of them over in the 90s. And if you were here in the 90s, if you watched on TV a sports report or picked up a newspaper, again, this was before even the internet was popular, getting started. That's a long time ago. But anyways, you'd see them report on the TVs in the sports section of the sports report and TV, or on the newspapers, Michael Jordan, the first on the practice court, the last off. Now here's the guy who's the best in the NBA, the very best. And he was practicing the hardest. Why? He was the best. That kept him the best. And it's no different in my class. Watch the videos, do the practice problems. Why? Why not just watch the videos? Well, let's talk about bicycles. Bicycles? Yep, bicycles. Being the nice person I am, and assuming you don't know how to ride a bicycle, let's just assume that. I give you the best Blu-ray disc ever made on how to ride a bicycle. And you've got a big screen, high-def TV like I have in my family room, a 75-inch one. It's good too. And a Blu-ray player. And for next month, you watch whenever you can that video, or not video, Blu-ray, how to ride a bicycle. You write it, watch it regular speed, slow motion, frame by frame, and back it up and watch it frame by frame till the end of the month. You know that by heart, every frame on that Blu-ray, how to ride a bicycle. What's going to happen the first time you get on a bike? Boop, you're going to fall off. And with practice, you get better and learn how to ride a bicycle. My course is no different. You can watch me do practice problems on the video. It's no different than watching how to ride a bike Blu-ray. Unless you practice, what's going to happen on the quizzes and tests? Boop, you're going to fall off and it won't be pleasant. So follow my advice. Watch the videos, do the practice problems, hand in the labs. I'm not a hard grader on labs, but if you don't hand them in, you get 0 points. And if you have questions, ask me. Always feel free to ask for help. Now, a couple of things you'll see on the video that I'll talk about because I'm just about done for tonight. But after I say goodbye, I'm going to stick around for a little while. So if any of you have questions, I'll answer them. One of the finest people I ever knew in my life was my mother's mother, Grandma Greenman. That was my grandmother. My father's those grandparents were nice, but Grandma Greenman was in a league of her own. And I'm Jewish, and she was Jewish, and she spoke Yiddish. along with English and a couple other languages, Italian and Russian too. Don't ask why, but that's a story for another day, maybe. But, and when we would leave, she'd always say in Yiddish, "Gehen gesund," which means go in health. And when COVID started and I started teaching on Zoom, it was pretty dangerous back then. And I would always then "Gehen gesund." And I do that still to this day. The other thing is, when I was in high school, a popular TV program in the United States is called the Beverly Hillbillies. You can see it on YouTube. I think everything's on YouTube except my high school graduation. But anyways, at the end, she'd wave goodbye like this. And I picked that up too. So with that, I'm done for tonight, but I'll stick around if anybody have any questions, and I'll say "Gehen gesund," go in health, and I'll say bye now. Stole that from Granny and the Beverly Hillbillies. Bye.